Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You go whenever you are there.
Circulator?
It is part of that, it's the bottom half of it. Even though we don't consider that. Nobody worked on
Yeah, I wonder.
Maybe start coding. Wait a minute.
Oh, they don't.
Start pledging.
it. They don't know who worked on, but I asked them. if they
We're
would-
Look, they're ready.
City
You ready,
board.
Ken?
Yeah,
Yep.
Everybody ready?
ready,
Where we going?
You wanna go do budget?
yeah.
Okay.
Why, you gonna go fly? Get ready?
Good, plane ticket.
All right, we need a motion to adopt the agenda. So, pick your moment. All right, second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the stormwater plan.
Let's make a decision. I don't know, we put it on there to, it just
Oh,
feels like we shouldn't.
that was the discussion that we had.
That was the lady.
On the night, that, we should, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I asked them to put it on, so we
Seems like a no-brainer, yeah.
Yeah,
we should get on the thing.
exactly.
Can't hurt
Yeah,
them.
you think it's a good idea, Catherine?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, it's a no,
it's a no-brainer.
it's a no-brainer, no money to it, to us, it's gonna take a couple of years, maybe.
I know Hannah, she's all for it.
Yeah, I know. All right, so somebody make a motion to tell Wyndham Regional that we want to become part of the stormwater master plan, towns.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, the next is the trailer. We got bids?
No, we just have the proposal,
Okay.
well, we typed it up from,
So we only have one so far, or is that it?
no, this is just to advertise.
Oh, okay.
To get bids.
Okay.
It's very, I don't wanna say cookie cutter, but it's very straightforward. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really to it, it's to purchase a new trailer. So if the select board approves the draft that we have, then we'll advertise and obtain bids for the. It would be the December. Yeah, December 2nd meeting, we would have bids for it.
And you,
we asked Hardy if
Yeah,
we could get
it's okay.
switch from the next year to this year, so we could get it now, because the trailer is not worth putting on the road, it's a safety hazard, and he needs to do it, so I already switched stuff around so that,
so we're okay, it's fine,
You're all right.
budget.
the capital budget.
On this capital budget this year, 24,
24, 25,
so when does it get the trailer?
probably, well, depends who gets the bid, send it out to three different people.
We have a list of 4.
They probably have got it in stock. So they're probably, you can get it right off.
We have an idea how much this is gonna be.
We estimated $30,000. That's a new one.
And you can't repair it when you ask.
Like,
You can't get any money for it, and you can't repair it.
What case, it used to be, I don't know if they're still doing.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have that
let's
on
go.
the list.
All right, so I guess we need a motion to
Put it up.
put it up to bid. So, all right, give me a second. All right,
Sorry.
I am, so all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And to bring you up to date.
Sorry, I
we just
had a call.
we just passed, telling Wyndham Regional that we wanna go on the
Yeah.
stormwater plan, and,
Yes.
we just approved to bid out for the 20-ton trailer.
Right,
That's where we stay. Now we start the budget.
sorry about that.
That's okay.
Couldn't shake it.
Not a problem.
Couldn't get the client off the
All
phone.
right, so here we are. How do you wanna do? Can you wanna start from the beginning?
Okay, yeah, I handed you out a new handout with, hopefully all the numbers that you wanted to, revise. So given the new copy, I've penciled in the new numbers. You can see that what I had indicated that you guys had wanted to change was on the first page, the listers, we originally had it at 15, I brought it down to 11. The next one, come down to the next page.
Nothing else on that page?
Nope.
The fire warden.
Oh. The fire warden, I had left it at 500,
And we would split that between the two.
and that was one of the suggestions that was made, that they would split that.
Yeah.
Piece of side
That's on the first page, sorry, it was,
First
Fire-
section.
Town government.
yeah, first section, second to the, from the first section. Then the second page, under village park maintenance, you want me to add $500 to it?
You know, what? Alan bought a endangered species and stuff, you know.
Or what?
Like 2,000, you said?
No, it was 10 years,
4,000.
8 years ago,
That's what it cost before. I don't know what it costs.
back in 20.
Can I just point of clarification? You said it up 500?
500 village park
From-
maintenance from 0.
I see. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the
That's okay.
1,700. So the village park is already at 1,700, that's for mowing. And the maintenance we have 500. That's a lot for invasives that are hard to control. That's
Yeah.
2 cents.
So I didn't change it at all because a decision hadn't been made since Al talked to the board.
I think we could look into it more, stuff, so it's always gonna be there.
And come back, I'm afraid.
Well, I'd like to put a kind of an asterisk and see where we are at the end here. I mean, we're gonna have a 9 cent increase, no, but if we, you know, maybe you could add a little bit more money to it.
Turn to the last page, you can see where you're going.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to the last page yet.
Yeah, well, I know, that's what I'm saying, so I put an asterisk there, leave it at 500.
100 across it out.
Okay. On the same page. It's down by supplies for cemetery. I had 2,000, you guys said 1,500, so I
Right.
changed that one. So then we'll move to the next page.
1,500.
So then if we go to the next page. Grafton Public Library, I had 8,500, but they requested 95. So they requested another 1,000, so I changed that one. Then in the same grouping, there is. The sheriff. Okay, we just got a notification that they increased their hourly wages at 14 hours a month times 12 months, so it comes to 12,600.
How much money have we got from that?
We might have gotten 2,000, maybe.
Well, we should have gotten more because we went through the whole ordinance.
Well, that's quite a bit compared to what we used to
Oh,
get.
wow.
We used to only get like 800 a
Oh,
month.
so it did go up. Oh.
Yeah, we've been getting,
They can't enforce the ordinance, so we put them lines on, we just had them lines put up.
Oh, okay.
And that's like, what, $5,000 increase?
No.
no, I had 11,000, that's 1,600 increase
60.
But that's all, that's just in wages.
wages,
Yeah.
not hours.
What you can do with that.
Then we moved to 29, I changed. The heat to 1,000,
Which one?
the heat,
That's town hall,
yep,
okay?
I added $60 for the cameras.
Yep.
I think that's, and then if you come down to almost the bottom, craft and rescue squad. You can see I had to pencil that one in because Morgan reminded me of that, they asked for a 3% increase, which came to 46.25.
Right. The fire department stayed the same.
There is one, how come I'm not showing? Did I mention, oh, I'll go back to that one later, okay.
You go back.
No, that's okay. Skip page 4, no big changes. The rest is all, Colby's stuff, and so we kind of agreed on all of that, so I made no changes because that was already done once and then done the second time, so I didn't make changes. So now if we go to the very last page, oh, hold on, I do have to show you something. Go to page 3. I think it's 3. Debt services. You see debt services, payment on principal. That's staying the same, that's the town garage. Okay, we're looking down to 9,000 is the interest expense. Then there's the Walker Bridge. For 50,000.
Is it page 3?
Yeah, where are we?
Page 3,
Uh,
3/4 way down, where it says debt service,
Oh, okay, maybe.
I've added the Walker Bridge,
Something like that.
that's a new one. And we'll talk more about that in a second. I did lower the listers. So the listers were at 15,000. On page 1, I did lower it down to 11,000. I conferred with Hardy and he said, yeah, 11,000 would be okay. That did cut that.
They get workman's comp,
The listers,
yeah. They work for us,
why would,
do they get workman's comp?
Her question is, are they on our, under our workers' comp policy?
anybody who works, yeah, any of the people that work within the building are covered under workers' comp under the salary portion.
Yeah, because you look here.
Yep. So if you trip and get hurt here,
If you fall down the stairs, you know.
on
crack your head over.
they're not eligible for unemployment because they're elected. I'm not eligible for unemployment, just the employees are. So if you go to the very last page.
Would the south side of the ground one or not?
Yeah, I asked Kobe again how much was in there and, in the file,
Okay,
and, there's enough for this year and try to next year, and if you skip. Or only get half of it this next year, you're gonna run into a huge price increase 2 years down the road with, it's not gonna be worth it to cut it. Okay. We already cut it 70, it's 45.
yeah.
So I didn't change it at all.
this is salt.
I didn't change it at all.
Say, sorry.
Yeah,
What, you left it at 45?
I left it at
Yeah,
45.
yeah, 45 is probably might get in 2,000 yards,
Okay.
I think it was somewhere around there. So that's not gonna hurt.
So on the last page, you can see I had to add in the $125 increase for the rescue squad. The final number at the very bottom that says 1,480,383 is our final number. Give or take some tweaks. We're up from last year's budget by 140,000. It'll be $232. So when you divide 15,000, which is equals a penny, into the 140 that we're up, you're looking at a possible 9.34%, 9.34 cents increase so far. Okay, that's not with our capital, that's not with our voted exemptions.
Well, the capital didn't change.
Down 3 cents.
It's going down 3 cents, but it's not included in 148 to give us any type of
Yeah,
But the school, you don't know what's gonna.
no, the school's another one.
the school, we have no choice on. Our grand list is going to be down. So we take our budget, divide it into the grand list, but I'm not gonna have a grand list number
Why is
until
it
close to
only-
April.
Why is that, why is that?
Well, it's should be up, shouldn't it?
Our assessed values, it's for, they're not assessed, they sold higher, so which means our CLA is going down.
They're not assessed for it, they're
Yeah,
sold.
it's the assessed values,
What's CLA?
common level appraisal.
Oh,
And the state looks at our CLA. It's kind of the spread that we have, and right now we're at 7. We could come down as far as, because they're almost doubling their prices of sales compared to what we have them assessed for, which makes the gap bigger. The state likes to not see you drop below, I wanna say, the party's on 84 or 85%. And we could be down in the 70s, which means we're gonna probably do a statistical reappraisal. So it's not gonna be whole town wide, it'll be a statistical one in 2026 to try and bring us up to a more even playing field.
When does the town do a reassessment of properties?
When, we just did one 2 years ago. And typically, you don't have to do them, but I mean, it depends. Last time we did one, we had an 8-year span, and prior to that, it was like a 10-year. Sometimes don't even have it done.
Isn't it a requirement that if it falls below?
If it falls below that 84,
then-
85, the
then
state
you have
says, that's it, you're red flagged, you need to do this.
Right.
And we could be red flagged in the next year or so.
When is that cutoff? As you see houses perhaps sitting on the market longer, and prices perhaps going down, when do they decide that? I'm saying perhaps.
That would be a hardy question, I have no idea.
Yeah, just curious, yeah,
Yeah.
if, I mean. If in this coming year, we see the houses that are listed not going and therefore dropping, that helps us get. Closer to that 85%, I don't know.
But that's not
We have
happening.
no idea.
I mean, they're usually going within a week to a month, and they're
But now
gone.
they are, I've seen these houses on the market. for
There's
such a-
only a couple that are hanging in there,
Oh,
but
well,
otherwise, yeah, they're pretty quick. So I just kind of out of reasonings off to the left on that bottom page, why we're seeing such a large increase. It's not totally just these, because there's little bits and pieces, but the Walker Bridge definitely brought us up another 50. During, for our professional auditors, we're gonna have to, consider a single audit because of the FEMA, so that's an extra 6,000 off the top, they already told us that. The new listers program, that was thrown at us and we weren't prepared, and that's an 8,000.
Okay, can we stop right there? Is that a mandatory or is that an option?
It's a mandatory. The program that we have right now that gives us your lister's card, and that when the assessors go out and see how many bathrooms and all you have. Yeah, that's what runs our program. That's what gives us our values, and it computes it, not. Well, that program is no longer gonna be in existence, so they're bringing in a new program.
So they just bring it in, we have to pay for it, it's mandatory, we
Mhm.
have no choice, we can't stay with the old one.
You can shop around, which I don't even know, would be a hardy, I don't even know what the shopping is, I think this is the CAMA system and this is what there is. So if you wanna have assessed values,
That they've worked with for many years, is
Yeah.
working with this company.
and there's only like 2 or 3 that can do it. And so the contract that we have now that needs to be signed is part of the 11-7, so it's the initial payment of it and the ongoing support for it. And it's a 3-year contract that you'll see, and, yeah, so that's the listers program kind of threw us in there. And then the insurance, we had which we knew was coming, it's come sooner than later. 3 new employees are tacking onto insurance. So I think that's a lot of what's driving up our increase.
Well, because, at Morgan, we're going on insurance now, and I think Colton's going on insurance. too.
No, Lane's going on, and Nathaniel,
Yeah. Right.
so that's kind of our driving force there. Then, so if we can go back to, so any questions on that, we can talk about a little bit about the bond.
Before you, really this, the $50,000. It's involved in which way your 2 scenarios we're gonna pick. If one of them, you only pay the interest, the 50,000 is gonna cover it. The other one, you pay the principal and interest, it's 67,000, so the 50 is not gonna cover it, so you're gonna have to raise this more.
But that's what brings me to, I had to run to get my car and I pulled out my book because I worked on this today. I'm not too sure, but I gave them off the ballpark, I gave them 735,000, and I don't think it needs to be that high. Because 946,000 is our 10% of the bridge, providing they don't go over. Well, we know where they've already gone over a little bit. by, what was that, maybe 9,000, I think we figured it last time. So I already had 375. 275 saved off of the 946, so that brings us down to about 675,000. I quoted to Ken at the bond bank 735, so that's a really high figure, that's like 60,000 higher. I don't know what the final figure is gonna be in next June. So that's based on these, okay, so we're looking at these two sheets, guys, with the blue. So what I did is I called Ken at the bond bank. And I said, if we were to bond for 15 years, $735,000, can you give me a schedule? So the first schedule he gave me is going out 15 years at an interest rate of 3.31%. Like he said, it can change by next year. And we skipped like John said, skip the first principal payment in the first year, the 25-26. Which is what we're budgeting right now, only pay interest. Will be done in 2041. So the next page though is 735,000, 15 years. At 3.17% interest. But we would be making, because we would make a payment this year on the principal. So one is not making a principal payment, one is. So if you look at the very top, you can see where the interest, you got your loan payment, your principal and your total interest paid. So if we were to make a payment of 50,000 this year, in this budget year, we'll be paying 170,810 in interest. If we skip this year, you're gonna pay 202,800 in interest.
It makes no sense to skip it.
It depends on your affordability. Like I said, I did go high, I might have gone a little too high, giving Ken the 735. Only because I needed a figure for tonight, and I had said right along, I thought it was gonna be about 50,000, since the town shed was, 53,000. As you can see, it came in at 49,000, so I was pretty close on that, but I might even be able to bring it down lower, so it might cover, John. If I brought it down, interest and principal with the 50,000,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
but this is all so much that you can't even. Seem to figure it right now, we're taking a guess in the budget. I can't get any true figures from anybody yet, it's way too early, it's not possible.
But you can only do what you can.
Exactly.
That's the way it is.
So I guess when the final budget, before I start putting together the town report, would be. Do you wanna leave in the 50,000 and make principal payments? Or do you think you need to take it out? And not tax people and not make a principal? So that's something to think about before I do the town report in December.
But long term, you're better off paying lower interest rates, aren't you?
It's a lower interest rate if we were to pay the principal now. It's less interest you pay in the lifetime of the loan.
Are these fixed rates?
Yes, it would be fixed.
The difference in tax rate of the interest rates is not a whole lot.
It's not a whole.
No,
heck of a lot.
it's still,
317.
And nor is the, have the.
331.
Mhm. Yeah, but it would,
Interest over the years, 1,000.
it would alleviate some money to work with this year if we didn't make the principal payment too. So instead of paying
Saves a year.
67, we would only be paying 17.
we don't have to make that decision today.
No, you don't, but it's something that probably before I complete my
Yeah.
town report to put up all this into play. But, so it's something to keep in mind.
You happy with 15 years?
We can go 20 years.
That's more.
We did 15 on the town garage. We've got, the town garage needs to be done in 2030. We got 5 years left on the town garage. And that,
It's a lower interest rate if you go 15-50 versus 10. I'm presuming, or maybe not.
Yeah, I
I'm
bet
not
you,
too sure.
I bet
I'd
you
have to
higher
ask
interest
Ken.
rate, you go up more or out because they have to cover themselves.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be more.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's gonna be higher.
It's always. Seems, but
Yeah.
it's,
May have something else to bottom. Too. The
Yeah,
next 15 years.
never know.
Who knows about, you know, the canal and the village or anything like that.
Well, but you also gotta worry about, do we have any more, anybody know, are we on the bridge schedule, or we have another bridge coming up?
No,
They're all coming on there.
No? Yeah, but they do the inspections, and we were on, I went to that meeting. About 5 years ago, we were number 6 to get the bridge done, and then they pushed us up. But do we have any other bridges in town?
I don't think
Over the
anything
next
that's,
10 years, are gonna have to be
I'm sure
done.
there is, yes.
Yeah, well, you know, then you're gonna be facing, and you could be facing.
Well,
another,
hopefully, we will take care of that in the capital budget.
yeah,
And that's what we're doing with Fisher Hill. We've got that in the capital budget now.
right, but it's nice to know from the state, if you, on their deficiency report, how close you are,
I haven't seen it.
and that's what I'm asking. There is a report, there is a
I
report
think you
that
have
they
to
give,
go
but
online and get a bridge report.
every
They haven't done an inspection in a while.
They-
though.
Every 2 years.
They did it in 2022.
every 2 years, they're supposed to inspect all the bridges.
Could you check in that, Morgan, to see from Megan, I think she could tell you, she could send you a copy.
Yeah, cause I went to that Wyndham Regional meeting there on the bridge many years ago, and every 2 years they inspect the bridges.
Yeah,
And then they put numbers on them, so in other words, how many years you think the bridge is gonna be before use of life? It'd be nice to have that. Yeah, it would. No.
So you're saying we're gonna be paying one payment of 50,000 and then the rest is all interest?
You make one principal payment a year and 2 interest payments,
And 200,
2 interest
one
payments,
in November, one in May.
and that usually falls in the same fiscal year.
But you pay two interest payments a year anyway. Regardless.
I
of
do
what
that
you
on the town garage, yeah. So the last thing Ken did say in his email, you don't have to defer principal at all, which one of the scenarios is deferring the principal. Or you can defer for up to 5 years, so you can defer the principal even down further.
Yeah, but then what? Then it catches up to you though.
Then you go 5 years, I'm sure, longer in your repayment schedule,
yeah, even that, your principal is much higher.
The price is very high on that.
and your interest rate will be higher, yeah.
That's putting off the inevitable, really, is what it is.
But if you don't have the money, yeah.
No, if you don't have the money, it's one thing, but I mean, because if you put it off and then you have another catastrophic flood or you have something else, now you're really
Then you're really.
in trouble.
Mhm.
so both of these are for 15 years.
Mhm.
The top sheet is giving the principal payment in year 1.
Well, yeah, right, so it adds 15 years, but it's one option.
Oh, God.
So, if you could take the sheet that I gave you for the budget. And maybe have one last meeting with any final, and at the same time, I would have the revenue. I really can't have the revenue until. Yeah, it's hard to give, I can try and work on the revenue, but I can't have the revenue until I get the actual budget, because then I divide. What's left of the revenue divided into the budget to come up with the tax, what the taxpayers would have to come up with as a tax payment. So I'm saying, so the very first line is tax payments, I don't even fill that in, I fill in everything else I know that's coming. And then I subtract that from what you guys tell me the budget is, and then the taxpayers make up the difference.
Well, I don't think we have any, questions on that budget. The only thing we have is the Walker Bridge.
Is the Walker Bridge.
That's
I
the,
don't think you can do any more here.
No.
And I mean.
I was gonna say, I
You
didn't
can
know,
take
maybe you guys
another-
wanted to tweak something or not.
Yeah, you can take up another $100 or $500 or $1,000, but it's not gonna make.
Not gonna have a big
a significant impact on anything.
It's not.
I mean, it's what it is. And I wish there was a way you could do that, but there is no way.
So, ponder over the bond, what I can do, just for curiosity. Is I'll go to Ken and I'll see if he can give me another schedule of closer to 675,000. For 15 and 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll have a 735, we'll have a 675, we'll have a 15 and a 20 year, and then I'll have Morgan send them to you guys. And you can eventually make a decision on it before December and tell me what to plug in for a number.
That'd be about 100,000 less.
Maybe.
So what is the deadline?
I'd like December 1st, if you guys could possibly, I mean, I guess, about 3 weeks to ponder over this. Thursday, I'll hear, Ken was back to me in like, matter of an hour. I'll get this on Thursday, and then you guys can just ponder over the off the bridge.
Okay. I mean, looking at the budget, I mean, there's really no way you can really take any substance out of this thing, I mean, as much as you can, unless you want to have the sand and the salt, but then you're only gonna.
And, we asked Gary DeRocher if we're gonna have any more surprises on Walker Bridge.
We did ask.
We did the last meeting, yeah.
And he said that they don't expect anything, but he can't give a definite answer.
Did you find out how they made out? They were going to not appeal, but that, it was going to be submitted for approval, their appeal
For the
for
bedrock thing.
the increase.
I haven't heard anything, but I will ask.
Well,
That was
if
for a
they,
change order.
I think he indicated that they probably. Was possible that they get a small reduction of that, but that's about all.
But that's, it's not a big item,
No.
9,000, that's, they got all. They're gonna reduce it down to 8,000.
Yeah, that's.
I think it was a significant line item, though. Wasn't it like 100,000?
Yeah, but we're only 10%.
We're only 10% of
it.
I mean, if they got rid of it entirely, yes, $9,000, yeah,
That'd be nice.
but that's not even a cent.
Right.
It would be nice.
I just need a little clarification, sorry. When you say we're gonna think about the Walker Bridge, I don't understand. What are we thinking about?
Whether you want me to put 50,000 into the budget. For a line item, or are you considering deferring and not putting 50, and we only need to put in like the 17,000 worth of interest?
Oh, okay,
Okay,
I
so
see.
it's
This
one of these,
response
yeah, one of
is going to be
these,
this, okay.
Exactly,
I didn't know.
whether you want to defer the principal for a year or not.
Me personally, I'd go with the 19, but you have to look at the people that are younger, you and live in the town and are gonna pay the debt.
Oh, yeah,
And I'm not gonna be here to see that.
I'm not gonna be here to see the bird.
No, no.
me.
The less it is now, the better for me.
I don't like listening to that.
I don't either.
So, and I'll feed you some more information on Thursday to help you decide on the deferring. Okay, on the bridge.
Well, that's what kids in right now, so whether we do it this year or next. Or
Yeah.
2 years.
Well, it's not good news, that's for sure.
No, it's not. And so
Well, we
I'm
do-
sure there'll be some questions at town meeting.
The only, I mean, if their revenue is up, it might help a little bit. But, I don't know.
That doesn't seem to change a whole lot
uh,
that we get, because we rely a lot on the state. State pretty much gives us the same amount when it comes to our class 2 and 3 roads. That's pretty standard across the board. Current use, pretty standard. That doesn't fluctuate much.
well,
Have a few pieces of other business if we're done with budget.
go ahead.
First, going back to the listers program, we have that, agreement for the program. And as Kim mentioned, the first year would be $5,700 plus a one-time payment of $3,500. So that's your one, and then It goes up year 2 to year 3, it's a contract for 3 years. Year 2 would be $6,000 and year 3 is $6,400. So essentially, we just need either Joe as the chair or me as an appointed authority to sign the agreement.
This is for the program.
Where does this show up with the budget?
So the.
That's in that
Yes.
11.7 on the,
The 11.
So what does this program do?
there's July,
This is everything that the listers, like the lister cards.
oh yeah,
I know
everything,
where it is, I see it, thank you.
yep, sorry, second page.
So
It's a giant increase, right?
the
Yeah.
state decided that they wanna have, the listers need a new program, and guess what? You're gonna pay for it, that's the bottom line. It probably, you don't need it, it probably would be good if you did nothing to it, but the state, and they're not paying for it, but. All the towns are gonna pay for it, and that's what really drives.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how that is, that would have to be something you gotta talk to Hardy about. And that's where Hardy talked about getting a new computer, because obviously this is gonna be a bigger program. Our computers are aged by 6 years already, I think we're going
But you
on
have-
7.
But you have a program for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's why he also has to replace their computer to accommodate the new programs also.
So for that, program come out of the capital budget?
I don't think so, I don't think Hardy would go for it, it's not a capital.
He's got enough money in
Project.
there.
Hmm.
He's got there's enough money in there.
Well, there is, but then don't forget, we have 4 other computers that are gonna need replacing.
Yeah, but you got enough for both. You know, you're gonna replace one computer. And you subtract that, you still have enough in there.
That'll only leave what,
And we had,
9,000?
we had an extra 26,000 that we put in the highway road structures, so.
You have to ask Hardy, I don't think the program falls under the criteria of a capital budget, but you can ask them.
I know, I like that.
Well,
I like that.
what the
Okay.
hardware does.
The hardware does, yeah, yeah, the hardware does, but.
So
Don't
see,
think the
that's the
program's-
problem. So the state, the wonderful people in Montpelier decided that they're gonna do this. And then because you have this new program, that means your computer's not big enough, so now you have to buy a new computer. So it just, it multiplies and the towns have no say in this thing. And that's the thing that they just, there's no revenue, there's no help. They just
Right.
keep giving, taking and taking.
And I'm not positive if it's the New England Municipal consultants that we use that are doing away with that system, the Access Pro, or is it actually the state requiring and they're doing away with it? So I'm not sure if it's the consultant or is it the state, so that's why I said.
How can a consultant burden the town?
What does party feel about it? Is it gonna help them or it's just another expense that they don't need?
No, it's an expense that's needed, no matter what, it's an expense that's needed.
Why? They
Okay.
survived with the old one for all these years.
Yeah, but if they're not going to support it any longer, it just
I
goes.
understand that.
But I don't know if it's a consultant that's saying it's going to go dead, or is it the state that's gonna say it's gonna go dead, but we need a program to run our grand list.
For what it matters, the system administrator is Ryan, who is the consultant.
Right.
So I don't know if that means anything, but.
Yeah, but somebody has to give them the authority to force the towns to do that. I would hope that it comes from some legislation.
I'm
somewhere.
sure that's on the state level, yeah.
It didn't come just because a consultant says, this is what we're gonna go do. I mean,
Somebody's making money.
somebody's, somebody, exactly.
I don't know, conversation probably we should have with,
Are other towns-
Already
are other towns doing this?
I'm not in touch with the listers as much. I wanna say probably yes. I know that supposedly there's a new called Pi program that they've been working on that's not integrated yet with the Nemrick system we are, but it was supposed to be this year, but it got delayed. There's so much going on with the listing statewide that I'm totally out of the loop of it.
Is this something our consultant could we could ask and dig a little deeper.
Ryan, yeah,
I don't
you
know.
could, but I'm sure Hardy could probably answer any
Just
question.
like
you
this,
have.
to where it's coming from. is
Mhm,
absolutely
yeah.
necessary. I mean,
Ha-
if
Hardy,
it's
Gail,
causing
and or
this-
Nancy, they've been working closely
John,
with Ryan.
Yeah,
I would just
where is that, I think.
maybe invite them to ask Hardy to chime in at the next board meeting.
Great.
Not the next one, because that's gonna be a long meeting for the
Oh, is it?
short-term rental.
Oh.
We'll do
I'll
the
be at
following
that. We all want to, right?
It's just, you know,
The dog is.
Okay, so,
I'll sign it if they approve it.
so do we approve it tonight, or do you want me to ask Hardy and have it come to the next meeting?
It's not taking effect till what, July?
July 1, we have
July 1.
Yes, that's what, that's what.
That's the questions, yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Capital budget. In this budget, we're still paying, the taxpayers are paying both, right?
Yeah.
So when you're saying 9.34% increase, does that include the capital budget?
No.
What is it?
Mercury.
What's it gonna be?
Uh,
What will it be?
the capital budget's 200,000. It was 250 last year.
And
Those
how
are
does that affect the,
But
Yeah, how's that?
he said 3 cents down earlier, am I right? About.
6 cents
So,
down,
3 cents down.
but not. 3 cents off is 9.34,
No,
no,
capital budget over and above this budget,
So this is not what people are.
but it's always been that way. Capital budget always is in excess of this budget.
Yeah, so what was it last year, capital budget?
250.
But in terms of
Down.
cents,
Well, I don't know what it was, 50.
I don't know, because you divided it into the
Yeah,
grand
okay.
list and I don't have a grand list.
gotcha.
But it's also, it's a separate article in the town.
Yeah, it's a separate article.
Right,
It goes to- yeah.
So one of the things I didn't put that's in the general that's driving that 140 is we now have moved the fire truck of 17,000 out of the capital, which had dropped down from 250, and it got moved into the general. So 17,000 of the 140 also is part of the general that we don't usually see. It's all coming from the same pocket, just a different category.
Right. You gotta raise it, you gotta raise the money in taxes.
So it looks worse here because it's
Yeah.
now in here,
it explains it, but it doesn't.
but it was in the capital, same amount.
wasn't there another thing that moved from capital to here?
No, that was the only thing that moved.
What was the other things?
Oh, I sent an email this afternoon about the culvert project on Fisher Hill. We're required to have a municipal project manager. And at first I thought that I could just assume that role, but I don't have the email on me, but they are the connecting piece between the town and all of the contractors and they have familiarity with the federal grant process and V-Trans. This money was built into the grant application, and if we were to hire an regional commission, which is common, that money that we would use to hire them is reimbursable under the grant.
So is that who we hire, with the regional?
Well, I reached out to Winter Regional because that's what V-Trans suggested to us, and they said that they have somebody available who was actually Margot, the one that was here at the last meeting. So she would be the one to help us through the whole process.
Do we pay her directly or does it go to Wyndham Regional?
I am going to assume it goes to Winter Regional and she's just an employee.
We set aside $30,000 for that. Can we find out if it's gonna be anywhere near that figure?
For her, yeah, she sent a proposal and it came in at 30,000. And I have a breakdown.
Oh,
$30,000 for consult?
she's the one that came up with 30.
Yeah. And I actually worked with Wyndham Regional to put together the grant application. And they recommended 30, so I'm assuming that's because common projects have come in at that amount.
But that's reimbursable, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's out of your grant. Which was 280,000, so you take 30,000 right out of 280 right off, you're down to the 250 for construction. I think so, normally, engineering doesn't cost anywhere near that when you put in a culvert like that. It runs $8,000 to $10,000. We don't have somebody
Well,
on site continuously and all like that, and when you go through a grant like this, what happens?
so the question though is, do you have to go through one original, or can you hire an independent engineer?
you can hire an independent, but I can't imagine it'd be any less than with a regional. So they broke it up into 4 phases. Project administration is at 10,000. Project management is 4,000, pre-construction 4,000, and construction management is 12.
That's how it works with the government, you know.
That's why I was against it in the beginning, but I mean, it's. You just don't end up with any money for construction when you get done. You're gonna raise it out of capital budget.
But you still get 250 and you get grant, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
you still get it done cheaper than you gotta do. it
And what's
yourself.
the final cost of the, what's our share?
But there's also opportunity to apply for other grants.
Yeah.
To kind of piggyback off of this.
Yeah.
I know it's not ideal, and I'm not saying one way or another, but. I don't think we can go forward with the project unless we have a.
You
No,
gotta ask.
you can't.
Right.
When you take money from the feds, they tell you what to do.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with how it works.
Yeah.
At all. So
So what do we do, we need a motion or something?
we need a motion to hire Wyndham Regional to help with this, and then there's a letter that we'll have to sign.
Okay.
So we've been accepted and know that we're gonna get that 200.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
So I make a motion. So,
Articulate, John.
so what did she do, start, right, all
She would start right away.
and then send us bills,
Periodically
and
as
how
she,
do we get reimbursed? We send in small bills to get reimbursed?
I-
Or can we get that whole 280 and put it in the bank, or? I'm just thinking, we're gonna have another expense with not getting any money back. So I'm wondering,
here we go, I'm pulling up the grant now.
And what's our share gonna be of this? What would our share be,
71,000 for the total grant.
which is in the capital?
yeah, we started, actually, yeah, exactly. Which probably not even gonna cover.
it's unfortunate, but when you get these grants, there's an underlying cost that you have to get, and it's. You could do it yourself, it would be cheaper, but you can't, so government wants you to go through all the hoops.
There's a lot of towns that don't do it because of that, and they're so far behind on their culverts and things like that, it's just. Really just,
Tells me who invoices need to be made out to. It's not jumping out at me right now.
I don't have your firefighter right there.
I can ask and get a quick answer. I'm thinking you can, because it's a long drawn out process, I think you can reimburse as a job.
None of this is covered under what we give with the regional each year.
No.
No.
Well, what do they do for it?
that.
What do they do for it?
Well, they do the stormwater, plan. Yes.
Yeah. Another thing.
1,700 is what we did.
I should have figured that out before I asked, but.
That's all right.
It's this one time.
So do we have to do this tonight?
No,
Okay, we
I can
wait.
ask and we can talk about it tomorrow.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's making any difference.
Yeah,
I don't think so either, so.
That's not gonna
How do
make,
we-
it's not gonna get over.
As long as we've accepted it and we've done it, we're not.
So it would be,
The motion to
a motion to hire
Wyndham Regional.
Margot whatever, from Wyndham Regional Commission to be the municipal project manager for this project. And I'll spell out the project title.
So we're making a motion to hire her, or we're making a motion to go with the Wyndham Regional Program?
I don't know.
Where the regional.
I would say just Wyndham Regional, make it broad.
Yeah, I don't think, we're not hiring her necessarily, they're making a recommendation.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe when the regional was.
Okay.
So you make that motion?
I would make a motion to,
All right, who's gonna second it? He's not gonna bite.
no one's gonna say. Anybody?
Everybody second it?
I mean, if there's hesitation, we gotta see.
What, it's not gonna hurt.
Second.
Okay.
Oh, thanks, Ken.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay,
that's all I have.
do I have to sign that thing?
That's
Sign it.
cool.
Yes, you do, I have.
Huh?
Oh, we can see on that. So it's like, yikes.
Don't forget now, tomorrow,
We go directly
it's
to,
at the site, it's at 4 o'clock, and you know where the site is? It's at Therafission's, you know,
you're
the
looking at me?
drive, yeah,
I know where it is.
okay, everybody know what it is, so. We'll just meet there, and then we're coming back here for an executive session with the
Kids.
attorney.
When you throw that up more, you don't, does the address change? Because that's the
I don't
wall,
think so, no, I don't think so,
it's gonna still stay
I
there.
think it would stay the same.
You think it will?
It won't say Fisher, but
Let's ask the attorney tomorrow, but I think it stays the same, I think it just runs to a private room.
So is he doing any more on it? Is he gonna come to that and,
Yes, he'll be there,
he'll be there?
yes,
So he's gonna write up all the paperwork after?
yes, yes, and then we're gonna have an executive session on this, we're gonna pipe thing.
Just so that I was.
Yes. So we'll meet there at 4 o'clock.
Then we'll come back here after it only take about 10 minutes.
It's gonna have to take only 10 minutes, because it'll get dark.
I know.
I know.
Awesome.
You gotta wait for the lights.
Oh, fine with
Probably really.
When are you?
You just have to go look and see the site and like the room there.
Yeah, you have to, don't you remember when we threw up the park, model B, we had to go up there and meet. Or you were on board, but we had to go up there. Suzanne was on the board.
So you know exactly where.
Yeah. No, rollers. Yeah, there.
Yeah, I haven't been to the bridge.
Years ago, it used to be the state betrayal guy, like, Bill Moyes.
Yeah.
He used to do it.
Yeah, Marsh had them doing with the brothers.
Well, Bacon, I thought probably could do it, you know.
But I could do it?
Maybe,
Yes.
but we got an attorney at $175 an hour.
Okay, we'll make it snappy.
Yeah. And then the next regular meeting is that Monday on the 18th, that's gonna be a long meeting and be prepared, because that's gonna be the short-term rental agreement. And there'll probably be a whole bunch of people there.
Once?
We do an executive session at that meeting.
You're gonna.
No, we're
also
doing
do the-
executive session.
Do the,
No, don't
Yes,
be,
you asked them to.
when? When?
The 18th.
Oh, we're gonna do it, really? We'll be here until 10 o'clock at night.
you're gonna do the dog order.
And get the door openers to do besides.
But we have an executive session tomorrow.
Can we do executive session on the December 2nd meeting for personnel? She wants to review the reviews. That
Okay, let's do it in the first week in December.
is that okay, Kathy?
That's 12 too.
I think you wanna stay away from is pushing it off and pushing it off. If it's, somebody's do something,
Well, that's what I don't wanna push it off, but
it should be done. Yes, that is due November 5th.
Well, should we do it tomorrow?
No,
Okay.
Well, why couldn't we do it tomorrow?
Why
I
can't we?
guess we can, sure.
How long,
executive session,
how long is it gonna take?
I don't know.
10 minutes.
Well,
Is
I
it-
have you posted it properly.
So for the short-term rental draft, I'm gonna print out a copy, but should we all have copies?
Yeah, I'll have copies.
Okay, just to, and it's up to other people to put it down.
Oh, yeah, you make changes again? No.
Nothing's made,
No.
no, there are no changes,
So
I
we
just
need
have
a bunch
a
of
hard
copies.
copy.
We'll need a bunch of, you know,
short-term rental,
Or
the draft.
can you go into executive session tomorrow without stating the statute as to why you are all of a sudden? Because don't you usually state
Well,
the
we're already
statute?
in executive session.
Well, we're
I know
going,
what you're supposed to state on an agenda, why you're going into executive.
well,
That's
we're
the only
going-
thing I was thinking.
we're going for a legal matter.
Personnel.
But this is
Well,
personnel, this is another
No,
statute.
no, the one with the attorney is legal, that's illegal, that's why we're doing. it.
Right, but do you quote it on your agendas?
I don't know what you have on that, I didn't see the yesterdays.
We typically put the reasoning. for
Yes, right.
sufficient right.
That's for
So you
tomorrow,
have to put either a legal matter and,
and personnel,
and
can you do
personnel.
that, two executive sessions of two topics?
We can,
why
but
not?
we didn't propose.
Well, you didn't post it that way.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying, I just,
That's too late then,
I
Right,
mean, not that I care, but I'm thinking legal wise.
No, I hear you.
no, then you can't do that. So we only have the
so
one,
let's do it on
so we'll do
November
the
18th.
18th. Do it on the 18th,
Ugh.
bring them lunch and dinner.
It's not gonna be that
If I don't think.
bad.
I think people are gonna be prepared
Efficient,
and ready to talk.
You know
about
how
it.
long, you know how long the other ones are?
which one?
Well, you'll just have
When
to
we
keep
had the
it
first
short,
Huh?
have to keep it
Yeah,
short.
that's your job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
We do have a rules of
When
procedure.
we had, we put
Exactly.
the first reading of that, I mean, we had the first one out, remember everybody, I can't remember. when-
It was like in July.
It was in July, yeah,
Was, yeah, what, I was.
that's all right, well, whatever.
Just took a lot of notes on what they want, yeah, yes, I think people had the documents and.
Well, this is only gonna be this will
It's only
be
a read
this will be a prelude, this is,
Yeah,
there'll be other things happening, I guess, I suspect.
let's see,
And if the select board approves it or rejects it, after it's all said and done, there might even be a warranted article to call special town meeting, who knows?
But has everybody thought of the dog ordinance? Because that's gonna come up we postponed it for one reason, is that it's gonna be townwide
yeah,
or just the village.
is this the appropriate time to make comment on that?
No.
I have,
Well, we're still in,
Well, the only reason I said no is because it's on the agenda for the next meeting, which is when it's warned on the
Can-
agenda.
can it be public discussion, part of the public
Sure.
discussion?
yeah,
I actually still feel, I hear both sides of the story 100%. But if a situation happened on one of the roads, a town road that isn't on the list. And something unfortunate happened in some dog, maybe there's a bite or an injury, it's a horrible situation. But if that person that was injured. I mean, I only think it's fair that there's an ordinance behind that person to help that person. I think it's really difficult for that to become mano a mano, like knocking on the door, your dog, whatever. I don't know, and I guess I feel strongly that if it's a public road, it doesn't really matter where it is. Now, am I against dogs having free, running in the hills like everybody else? Not at all. And I don't think people are gonna run around and go, leash your dog, I'm telling you, maybe they are. If the dog's a menace or whatever, but I just feel that just because we're on a border. It's not Hinkley Brook or it's Fireman's okay, Hinkley Brook isn't. It's just, it's a tricky situation, it's really tricky, and I don't know how that would, I mean. What happens if there's a terrible situation?
I asked that question in the last meeting. And the lady takes care of the dog control lady. You call her.
Well, but if it's not part of the ordinance, they don't.
I'll just mention this, if it's a bite, like a dog bite, that's considered a vicious dog and that is townwide. This
Oh.
dog control thing is strictly leashes on. Either a defined area or townwide, but if a dog attacks another dog or a human, townwide, that's.
Right.
That is, thank you for
And
that.
I don't think there's any towns that have an entire town-wide leash law, I don't think.
Oh, I think
find that.
others.
well, maybe.
Not an
maybe
entire
in a
town.
city,
Massachusetts, leash law,
maybe in
No.
Burlington or something like that.
okay.
But see, I have a different thing. I see a lot of people, I live in a rural area. And I see a lot of homeowners have dogs running loose. And if you say they can't do that, somebody drives by. And they see the dog running, then they're gonna make a report, and it's gonna be a whole big damn deal. Because, you know, they're violating the law.
I was just concerned about the aggressive dog situation that you cannot.
But
control that.
but if you have an aggressive dog and a dog does something, it doesn't make a difference where that is.
Well, I thank you for the
The
reminder,
animal
that
control
has been
comes,
clarified,
and that's the end of it.
but taking it up. On that kind of a situation. I didn't realize that, and I didn't realize that from our last meeting's discussion, because we talked about it would be the person versus the individual. And, you know, the homeowner or the dog owner, it's like, whoa, I bet that would be a difficult situation. But if it's in terms of a bite or an aggressive dog behavior. You know, whatever, even if it wasn't a bite, you know, that if that's a separate situation, then I don't have a problem with that ordinance right now.
Well, I had one jump out in front of me on Hickory Brook Road. And it hit the side of my truck. Jumped out, bush, it hit the side of my truck. And it injured the dog, was not bad, it was
Right.
really wrong though. Plus, that kind of concerned me.
That is
If
concerning.
if it had been a broken leg or something else, would I have been liable to pay to a vet and all that?
Yeah.
I wasn't leashed enough that it was gonna go.
Well, wait a minute, so, yeah,
I don't think he'd be, I think that's a dog.
You're on the, I mean, you're driving.
The dog
I
is-
think in the village, though, it's not just so much dog bites, it's just a nuisance sometimes to people, running up and greeting them when they're dog shy.
it's more
Or
than the
going
dog
on their
shy.
lawn and using it as a bathroom.
Right.
You know, it can also mean it's controlling a nuisance in a populated area.
but then us defining a populated area becomes.
Well, it's pretty defined, just with what's considered village, our district, we have a
Village limit.
yeah, a designated village.
So if you start walking, but we already, I mean, is 121, is that all village the whole way?
No,
No,
Or Middletown, we had said that Middletown,
no,
that's not
Middletown is
village,
stopped.
so that wouldn't come, Middletown wouldn't be included on this?
It basically wherever the septic system, the wastewater program was to take
No, I
effect, that's.
understand that, but then I still feel like there are more roads than just the village where people. Then there's potential for nuisance that are not out in the hills and the fields, I think
We have to
there's.
be walking your dog up 121, and when you get by the church, you're gonna take the leash off, because you're out of the limits.
Right.
Right, that's the sort, that's still feels villagey. There's a lot,
well, it's after Beck Bridge, if you go by.
no, I understand, but I just,
We're on Parker Hill, and it's rural.
that's.
It's dead end. But everybody that walks the dog, they don't live on that hill. They're down in the Cambridgeport area or Grafton area, and their dogs are coming up our hill, but they're on leashes.
Well, nobody says you can't have a dog on a leash.
But my neighbor house, is from here to across the street. That's a vicious dog. I haven't called the animal control. It's attacked our dogs. It's attacked me. It hasn't bit me. But I can't walk down my driveway anymore with my dogs.
But then
Yeah.
you need to
And
talk
I
to
don't
animal
think,
control, I mean, that's the bottom line.
and I don't think it's registered. No collar.
Well, that's even more reason.
Well, that is a great-
What's the neighbor?
And this ordinance is only on town roads, so if you were walking across your lawn and it attacked you, this ordinance
You
doesn't
can't
protect
do
you.
anything, but.
You know what I mean?
Listen, Kathy.
I
Um,
don't know about.
I will tell you an incident that happened to us, to me, or my wife, I should say. She was riding a horse. On Middletown Road. And sandbagging came up and basically almost ran her off the road. So she called the game warden, and the game warden went to go talk to Sam and told him that, you know, this is the rule. If the horse comes there, he's supposed to stop, he's supposed to avoid it. He's my neighbor, but you had to do something about it. I mean, you can't ignore these things. If you can't afraid to walk down your driveway. And you're not afraid, and you have a vicious dog, when you get bitten, then it's your own fault. And then you gotta go to the hospital, and you don't wanna do that.
You can both our dogs down. And it took 2 adults to get that dog off our dog. Our dogs weren't doing anything other than barking at it. But, our dogs was, one got so traumatized, I think, because of that.
You don't have to stand in the road and holler at the dog to come over us, and then if you say you're on the town right away.
Alright, you all done?
Here's the-
Public comment? Still on public.
No,
I have none.
no, we passed that.
I only brought that up is that we should be making a decision on.
Making a decision.
No, we should have a vote on it. I mean, I'm.
It's just that the red line is a
Just have it
difficult,
localized.
potentially difficult.
I mean, I lived on 121 before, and I had a dog, and my dog, we would walk on 121, and my dog was on the beach. And if I had a dog in Middletown Road and I was gonna walk it, I wouldn't put a leash on my dog, not unless the dog was vicious or something that day.
I'm on a town road and my dog wanders wherever it wants, the dead end, but it's a town road.
Yeah.
All of us are neighbors and love each one of them.
Well, those are good stories, but there's always the unfortunate story, but I don't know, I think there's a fine line.
But these people rent, and I don't think they've registered that dog.
I have to check with them and see. I
Um,
will say
It's
Ashley.
easy, just make the phone call, right?
Yeah, just ask me though, and I can tell you, and then we'll call Ashley.
Yeah, actually, you come and talk to them.
Yep.
And then they get a fine, then maybe they'll learn.
They get a warning.
Or whatever. Alright,
For public comment. For public comment, the only thing I have is, the school is having their community forum, it was rescheduled to this Thursday at 6 o'clock at the school, Grafton School. And there'll be childcare and food, and they have to RSVP to the school if they want childcare. Hope we have an attendance out. I don't know, I'm hoping.
alright, motion to adjourn,
Second.
all in favor? I'm gonna talk to Hardy. And ask him, what, I mean, it's not a big deal, you know how much it is.